The sequence of events that concluded March's Cup race at the Circuit of the Americas has reignited the debate over whether we even need green-white-checkered finishes in the first place. But the problem is much larger than that, and requires examining another long-standing rule. For most of NASCAR's history, races could and did end under the caution flag. The reason it wasn't a big deal was because the moment a late race caution fell, the leaders could still race to the finish line and actually take the yellow flag.
This is an interesting rule situation, Jim. You are allowed to race to the line once the yellow has come out. Cale Yarborough did that. Richard Petty is counterattacking. This may be the race that we're looking at here as they sweep up into traffic. A highly dangerous situation.
Coming down the front straight. Here they are, Sam. They will come across the yellow line just about together, but Petty had the lead. By the nose of the car, Richard Petty was just in front of Cale Yarborough as they came across the line.
If cleaning up the track took too long, or the yellow came out too close to the scheduled distance, the race finished under caution. But those laps hardly mattered, as it felt like the finish had been moved up a couple laps, often with dramatic and satisfying results.
Lake Speed and John Andretti tangle as the leaders head for turn number 3. Andretti and Spencer got together.
This could be the Daytona 500. Bobby Labonte goes to the outside.
Labonte up high. Earnhardt uses the lap car of Rick Mast as a pick. 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. Finally.
In the late 1990s, the attitude toward races that ended under caution began to change. I personally remember when it felt like track crews were taking too long to clean up the track, and that races were ending under caution unnecessarily. Was that subjective? Absolutely. But I wasn't the only one feeling this way. Around this time, NASCAR began to throw the red flag late in the race, allowing for lengthy cleanups to be completed without burning up laps. With the cleanup completed, the field could refire their engines and soon after line up for a restart, still within the scheduled distance. The problem, as always, was inconsistency. No better example exists than the 2 Daytona races in 2002. In the Daytona 500, throwing the red flag negated what would have been a dramatic photo finish between Sterling Marlin and Ward Burton.
Caution flag is out. This could be the race to the finish of the Daytona 500.
You'll see some rubbing here, I'm sure, getting back to the line. This may be it.
6 cars sprinting toward the caution flag. Marlin inside, seeking his third 500 win. Ward Burton trying to get his first victory. 2 Dodges, drag racing back to the caution flag. Who's going to get there first? Marlin by a nose.
I think what happened was Sterling Marlin went down to go underneath Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon went to put the block on, and he went across the nose of Sterling Marlin's car, and that's what spun him out.
The race is not over. They're going to red flag the event. They're going to stop the field, restart the race, and try and settle it.
In July, NASCAR decided not to throw the red at all, letting Michael Waltrip roll around the track for the final 3 laps. In their frustration, fans prolonged the caution themselves. Soon after, NASCAR created a rule for throwing the red flag. If a caution fell on or after a lap decided before the race, the red flag wouldn't be thrown, and the race would finish under caution. If it fell just before that lap, the red flag would be thrown, and a green flag finish would be attempted, still within the scheduled distance. This was separate and apart from the events of 2003, which saw the end of racing to the caution flag. Curiously, this change didn't happen because of a caution in the final laps, but because of cautions that fell earlier in the race. On lap 72 at Sears Point, Christian Fittipaldi wrecked in turn 10. Coming to the yellow, Robbie Gordon completed a pass on teammate Kevin Harvick just past the accident scene.
Now remember, we race to the caution flag at the start-finish line, unlike most road racing series. Robbie Gordon.
If I'm Robbie Gordon, I say, I didn't know the caution was out.
This violated what was considered a gentleman's agreement, but not necessarily a written rule. Then in September at Loudon, Dale Jarrett crashed just after a restart, and his car was stopped past the exit of turn 4. Since the leaders had already crossed the stripe, Jarrett had to sit in the middle of the track as everyone else completed the lap.
Ryan Newman racing Bill Elliott back to the caution flag. Michael Waltrip. Ooh, here's the bad deal. You got a car sitting in the racetrack right now, and these guys are racing back in yellow. Yeah. That is just... Oh, I hate to see that.
Were you aware of the guys racing back to the caution, and you had a unique perspective on that, DJ?
Yeah, not a good place to be. Knew they'd be coming back.
I started to get unbuckled, and I buckled back up, and yeah, that wasn't a very good sight to be looking in your mirror seeing that. I know what they're doing, what they got to do, but not a fun place to be. But we had a really good car, shouldn't have been in that position anyway. Few people learn to use their heads. We're not even halfway in the race.
Jarrett's comments led to NASCAR ending races to the caution flag, ultimately establishing both the freeze the field rule and the free pass. Together, these rules prevented both lead lap and lapped cars from racing the moment a caution was displayed. The problem with freeze the field became apparent in 2004, as the rule made no distinction between a caution in the middle of the race or a caution with the potential of ending the race early. The result was a series of late race battles spoiled by freezing the field, even where the leaders could have safely reached the finish line at least one more time. The first of these was at Talladega in April, where Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. were side by side for the lead.
McMurray in the 42 car, Michael Waltrip in the 15, he's fighting his way back up.
Gordon inches ahead.
Right there is where Junior is so strong. Sailing off into the
trouble.
turn.
One car around, and it's Brian Vickers.
All right, the caution is out, and we are past the red flag lap. We are past the red flag lap. But remember, the field was frozen when the caution flag came out.
The next came at Pocono, where Jeremy Mayfield was catching Jimmy Johnson.
But I think he's letting it all hang out now.
I think he's reaching down, getting everything that car's got, and then some.
Caution's out, buddy. Back
Yellow.
down. Stay up high. Caution is out. Stay up high.
5 to go. Caution is out.
Now the red flag lap is 196. We will be completing 196 now, so I think we're past that window.
The very next week at Michigan, rookie Casey Kane was on the cusp of his first career win, tracking down Ryan Newman.
Look at that thing rocking up off the corner.
Boy, did he ever get a run off turn 2. It's not over with yet, guys. Look at it. He just continues to pull up on the 12 car.
Newman strong at the end of the straightaway, but here comes Kane.
Here he
may
comes.
catch him.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
It's got to be. They're coming to the checker, though.
But the field is frozen.
Oh, man.
Unlike Talladega and Pocono, which saw the final 4 laps run behind the pace car, Michigan stopped the action just a few hundred feet short of the finish line. Thus became the most dreaded words in racing.
The caution is out. The race is over.
Demanding that drivers slow down at a race's most critical point was arguably just as dangerous as racing to the line, but no one has ever really held NASCAR to account for this. In 2007 at Talladega, Tony Stewart was wrecked by David Gilliland when he slowed for a last-lap wreck that happened behind him. This is not to say that NASCAR has been consistent with throwing these cautions either, which at times has led to disasters of a different breed. To this day, a green flag finish at a superspeedway, particularly within the scheduled distance, remains exceedingly rare.
And how strong that 88 is, we're finally going to find out. Oh, crash! Kyle Petty. Hard crash. We stay green. Now the caution is out. Race is over. A little wider.
There he goes, Junior.
Oh, no! There's a 25. The 48. It takes out Earnhardt and Jimmy Johnson.
Caution is out.
Oh, we got it, guys.
That's it.
Oh, man. Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
not.
believe he did not wreck.
Keep rolling here. Now,
Oh, now they're wrecking.
Now they're
Oh, my
wrecking.
goodness. That's incredible.
Now the caution flag is out.
Coming off turn number 4. Smoke.
Oh, man.
Trouble. Way in the back, but here come the leaders.
The question is, are they going to throw the yellow, or are they going to let them race back?
7, 8 car pile up in the back straightaway. Caution is
Caution is
out.
out.
Joey Logano gets turned. Elliott Sadler drives through. They're crashing big time at the line. Brendan Poole, first career win at Talladega.
McDowell in tow. Dillon on the bottom.
The run's on top. Teammates.
Around they go, and a hard crash. Kyle Busch.
Larson.
Caution is out.
Larson tried to go to the middle. Oh, he got turned.
Larson Pastrana in the fence. We are
Keselowski's
still
out.
green. No, the caution is out.
This leads us to the current green-white-checkered rule. Now, it no longer matters how long a cleanup takes. A race can go well beyond its scheduled distance for 1, 3, or now an unlimited number of attempts, so long as a leader hasn't taken the white flag. The red flag is also thrown from time to time, but with no more consistency than it had in the early 2000s. The green-white-checkered rule gets a lot of hate, especially after races like COTA, but does it deserve all the blame for how these races tend to finish? I don't think so. Real issue is the sequence of events that force these races to go into overtime. Can we do anything about late race cautions? Probably not. No matter how aggressive a field of drivers are, the final laps of a race are the most critical moments and the most likely to lead to accidents. And we have also seen plenty of green-white-checkered finishes also end under the yellow. But do we really need to freeze the field when a late race caution occurs? That's the real question. And my answer is no. Freezing the field is fine for most of the race, where the trophy's not on the line, but the finish is different. Unless the leaders are unable to safely reach the finish line and slow down, let them at least battle to the finish line. Set a limit, perhaps in the final 5 laps, where everyone knows if the yellow comes out, it's on. Then, once they get there, you can throw the caution and let the race finish under yellow without a single green-white-checkered. I believe this would eliminate one of NASCAR's most inconsistent judgment calls and would satisfy most fans. But that's easy for me to say. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
In America, there exists a sport that is driven by the fans. They are why everyone works so hard, on the teams and at the tracks, in front of the grandstands and behind the scenes, to give the fans the greatest race possible. NASCAR fans deserve the best, starting from the high banks of Daytona, all the way to the shores of California, and at every race in between. NASCAR fans, you're the reason for our success. Thanks.